says teacher shot by 6-year-old should get workman's comp instead of the $40 million lawsuit. And it goes on to say, this is from USA Today. It goes on to say that, and this is she's suing for $40 million. And the situation is this is a situation where the kid said he had a gun. They frisked him. They looked for it. They couldn't find it. But this was where she and several other teachers have constantly been going to the administration warning about this situation. And this was their response, because she's now suing, because she was shot. She was in 2 weeks into like they had to save her life in the hospital. But this is what really gets me. The filing, which was read yesterday, argues that against Zwerner's assertion in her lawsuit that she reasonably expected she would be working with elementary age children who wouldn't be a danger to her. The district cited cases of violence against teachers by students from across the country and in Newport News. While in an ideal world, young children would not pose any danger to others, including their teachers, this is sadly not a reality. This is exactly why the plaintiff strategically focuses on the use of a handgun as opposed to some other weapon with less perceived notoriety and shock value, even though serious injuries can be inflicted with scissors, knives, pencils, rocks, chairs, and hands. The district argued if the child had stabbed Zwerner in the neck with sharp scissors rather than shooting her with a gun, there would be no question the injury would fall under workman's compensation. Zwerner refused to accept workman's compensation lawsuit. So, but they're missing the point. And what gets me so fired up about this is it's like you're missing the point. I don't care if it was a stapler. I don't care if it was Play-Doh that he attacked her. These kids are feeling like this is okay. This is allowed behavior in schools. You know, this is, and they're quibbling over workman's comp, and they're actually trying to use their the problem as the explanation. Like they're saying, well, this is not. They're actually saying the quiet part out loud. They're saying that these, nowadays, you should have a reasonable expectation that you're not going to get attacked by your students, but sadly, that's not the case. Well, so what you're saying is, being a teacher now, you should expect to get attacked by your students with scissors if they don't have a handgun. And if that is not a FUBAR way to look at education, and if you're wondering why it's tough to get teachers, there you go. I don't think you could triple what I was making as an elementary school teacher, and I would not want to be in that situation. So, yeah, that's the rabbit hole I was going down right before.
Right. And yeah, and like there needs, like, we can't go away from like behavior, and like when you and so many times, like, it is about referrals, and like even when you submit that referral, it doesn't mean that it's going to go through, because like there is the incentive in the higher part of the school system that they don't want too many referrals where it looks bad on them.
Yeah.
And I remember putting in referral after referral and then realizing, like, sometimes it's like, what was the point of putting in the referral? Because you knew it was going to be swept under the rug. Or if you put in and if you didn't have a record of the behavior because you didn't write a referral, then it was like even more on you when something happens. And yeah, I mean, that's ridiculous.
I encourage everybody to check out the book Why Meadow Died, and it's co-written, because there's another guy that's writing in it too, but it's co-written by the father of one of the daughters that was shot in the Parkland shooting at Marjorie Stone Douglas High School down in Florida. And it actually, he did his own research and it comes to find out that there were so many moments where the shooter could have gotten the services he needed and could have been placed in the appropriate educational setting, and should have been, because this was a student with severe mental issues. But for whatever the reason is, they ended up deciding, and you had teachers with stacks of anecdotal evidence, stacks of data saying this kid, and they actually had him set to go to this special behavior oriented school. And then all of a sudden he's shoved into regular gen ed high school, and where it's like you're putting a kid that you say should not be in this situation, you put him in there. And then, now granted, it doesn't excuse his actions, it doesn't excuse him shooting up the school, but this is a kid that, this is one example of if we were truly for all children, this should have never happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's not about, yeah, we want inclusion and we want everybody to feel included, but there's a point where we need to like protect all the kids, not just that one kid. We don't need to protect their feelings. Like when we get in the real world, like there are consequences for your actions.
Mm-hmm.
And the school system should take better care of things and not have referrals seen as like, oh, we can't have too many referrals or we're going to look bad per se.
Yeah.
But like we need to deal with things and we need to protect those other kids that are in the classroom as well as the teachers.
Yeah.
Because like, when you go in the military, you know that you're going in the military to serve and like you may lose your life. But when you go into teaching, like you're not, I'm so sorry. You're not having that.
Is that Doc A-Run again? He's yeah, you're right. When you go in the military, there's an expectation but now they're trying to say that should be the same expectation to be a teacher.
Right. I mean, like, hey, you may lose your life teaching and you're not going to make much money, but like, I don't want to get too far on the negative side of things, but like, I mean, I really had a passion for teaching as well as you. And even as I was like working at a restaurant before I became a teacher, I remember this one couple like asking me like, oh, what are you doing? Like, I'm like, oh, I'm in college to be a teacher. And they're like, you sure you don't want to just like think about something different? Like, do you know that's not going to make that much money? And I was just like, why are they trying to like stop my hopes and dreams? Yeah. And then, like later on, I kind of see more of like what they were talking about. Like, not to say I don't regret the time that I spent teaching. I really enjoyed it. But I did decide there was a time when like, okay, I know that for me, like it was getting too stressful and I want to be home with my kids. And that I saw that there were other things I could be spending my time on, like teaching finances versus, being in the position that I was in.
Catch full episodes of the Educators Podcast every Thursday at 4 p.m. Real educators with the real issues in education. Thank you so much for watching. And of course, take care of yourself. Jeans passes. Anyone who likes, shares, and comments on this video. Have a great week.